Welcome in, everybody. That Wrestling Show.
Yeah.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
They let us back in the building.
We got back in. I was shocked.
About that. I even got a cup.
I'm shocked. It's because of all of those award-winning predictions.
Obviously, which we will get to today because Liam's back from Orlando.
Yes.
He had a whirlwind tour of WrestleMania. But first, let me say, I am Mike Wendt. Of course, you know me from NESN on Wicked Bites every Saturday morning at 9:30. And Liam?
I am Liam Stryker of the New Age Insiders. You can find us Wednesday night on newageinsiders.com and on iTunes and all those other fun podcast platforms.
It's a really fun wrestling show to listen to.
I would hope so.
Especially when you let me on every 2 years.
Yes, every 2 years.
So let's jump right into it, man. I mean,
absolutely.
Orlando, you went to Disney, you went to WrestleMania, you went to
Yeah.
NXT. I mean, tell me about the 10 days.
Over at the New Age Insiders, we called it Disney Mania
as it should be.
because the entire week we led up all the way, going to Disney World, Universal, all the fun things that Orlando has to offer, and then we capped it off with NXT and the Show of Shows.
Sure.
It was an amazing experience. We did a tailgate pre-show at the stadium, at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. We did it with the Connor's Cure.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're an organization that combats pediatric cancer. Connor the Crusher, it's a WWE charity. It's with the Tony V Foundation. It's a great foundation, and so they asked us back. We were there last year, and we were asked back again this year to do a pre-show and be a part of that tailgate. So we were really thankful to be a part of that, and we were able to do a fun, cool show. And then we actually went into WrestleMania. Which we got to get to. Right.
I mean, there's 7.5 hours, and this time I'm not even being exaggerating.
No.
Usually I'm like, oh, it was a 9-hour show. No, it was 7. It started at 5, ended around 12:30.
Right. The most amazing thing had to have been the entryway. Right, so
started at the top of the building.
Yeah, the way the Camping World Stadium is set up, there is an open-ended area of that stadium, right? And so they built the set into that so that they didn't take away any seating.
Sure.
That means that the ramp to get to the ring was 4 miles long.
It really was.
And it was so funny because Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker, they both have slow, methodical entrances.
Everybody was saying, The Undertaker started on Thursday.
Yeah, it started on Thursday. So they actually had like a trap door in the floor halfway down. So they just...
Oh, he's breaking down the fourth wall.
Yeah, so they just raised them up halfway. They were like, we're going to start them halfway down. And they're just... So they only have to go half the way.
That's hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
Sasha Banks was the only one that came down on a little golf cart.
Yep. Triple H.
Why didn't they reuse that? Well, Triple H, he came out on his tricycle.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing. I was just like, so Triple H didn't want to learn how to ride a real motorcycle to do this.
I respect it, though. I mean, if anybody can ride a tricycle and pull it off.
Yeah, it was him.
It's him and Stephanie on his back. That's pretty awesome. And that was another.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude just raises the bar when it comes to entrances.
I know.
It's just, and it was almost. It felt, insider term, it felt like a rib on Goldberg. It's like, you have a bunch of state troopers walk you down. I got them on motorcycles.
I got them on motorcycles and we drove down. From top to bottom, I think that the show definitely delivered. I was at last year's WrestleMania, WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, and it was plagued by injury. It was just not a good show. And this show delivered on everything that it was promised.
I was thoroughly entertained for 7.5 hours.
Yep.
There was not a point where I was like, okay, I can get up and go to the bathroom now, or I can go get another beer now. I was in there, and I popped a couple times. So let's jump right into it. I think I'm excited about this because we literally almost play-by-play, without any prior knowledge, predicted exactly what would happen in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And hashtag Mojo Mania.
I am shocked. I am shocked about that.
That was one of the pop moments for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Gronk hits the ring.
Yep.
Let's just jump right to the end because
who cares about the rest of the
the other 32 people? Okay. So they go outside.
Yep.
And you knew it. The second the camera pulls back and reveals Gronk sitting front row, I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it. You start getting a tingling in your fingers. They're gonna do it
because it's WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Jinder throws the beer at him, which that's like not only it should be illegal to throw Gronk's beer at him.
Right. Yeah.
Hops the barricade. Hilarious that the security guard knew nothing of what was going on. She jacked him up, and he just was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. The two refs had to run over there and be like, hey, no, it's okay. He's a part of the show.
And then Gronk gets in. Tackle blocks the hell out of Jinder.
I know.
And it was one of those moments where I'm like, because he didn't go right out.
Right.
They held it. They milked it for a few minutes. And I'm like, are they going to give it to Jinder and just give Mojo that moment? And then he wins. Mojo wins.
For a split second, I thought Gronk was going to toss Mojo over.
I mean, that would have been
Gronk
hilarious.
was going to win.
But I think he's got a few years left on his contract before he can jump back into the ring.
That was the person I was sitting with. That was the first thing that they said as soon as Gronk nailed Jinder. And it was... do you think they cleared that with the Patriots?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. That never would have been cleared, especially as we mentioned before, Gronk is the Kevin Nash of football. So it's like...
I'm surprised he didn't break a forearm. I'm surprised he didn't break a forearm on the way.
Don't want him to bust a quad, pal. The Raw Tag Team Championships.
I know.
It was a three-way at one point.
Yep.
And then the New Day come out.
Yeah.
And they say it's a four-way. I was in the middle of a tweet bashing New Day for inserting themselves into the match as the music hit.
Yeah. It was crazy because it's the little things. It's the little details. The New Day were seen earlier in the show and they were in suits.
Right.
So when they came back out before the Raw Tag Team match, they were in their wrestling gear. And that was the thing that I was concerned about.
They did a good job milking it.
I was concerned about it because I was like, how do you not have your biggest act actually wrestle?
Right.
You know? And
well,
they
got the biggest act in all of pro wrestling at this moment.
It was insane because the Hardy Boys returned.
Yes, they did.
The New Day's announced that the Hardy Boys were coming back, and they showed up. I love that it's not totally the Broken Hardys. I like the Broken Hardy thing, but it works in Ring of Honor. It works in TNA, where there's a weird level of indie that's there, and it feels like it's going to be a weird merger of the two. So he's still going to be kind of like damaged Matt Hardy, not broken.
My thought is, I loved the way they did it.
Yes.
Because it added that bit of nostalgia to WrestleMania, because it was the WWE's version of Hardy Boys.
Right.
But then you see stuff like on WWE's Snapchat, they're doing the delete, they're doing the obsolete. Matt Hardy's doing the voice and the all that stuff. I feel that they might be making the smartest move they can with this character, because they're not just going to come out. This is just, again, armchair booking it, pal. They're not going to come straight out and give you the broken Matt Hardy.
Right.
But why not build?
Right.
Why not show the progression from the Hardy Boys to the broken Hardy Boys?
Right.
I mean, why not tell that story? That can last you 2 years.
It was crazy because being there, and there's so many wrestling shows and so many wrestling fans all the way around, that Friday hit and you start hearing rumblings that the tag match is going behind closed doors and nobody knows what's happening at the hotel. They broke down a ring from the Performance Center. You know, like all these weird rumors that start kind of flying around.
You're getting different DMs than I am.
Yeah. I get a lot of weird DMs.
Inside scoop over here.
But no, you start hearing these rumblings from different fans. Oh, sure. I heard this, I heard that, I heard this.
Okay.
And so then by the time NXT rolled around on Saturday, it was like, I think the Hardys might be here tomorrow. And then the way that show closed.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get to it, because for me, it was one of the more polarizing things with especially wrestling internet fans, which I'm not really going to get into because we don't want to dwell on the negative here.
Right.
So I'm going to say that they did it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to talk about the match because the match wasn't the important part of it. It wasn't good. It wasn't good, but you could tell, especially the way the card was playing out, when Brock and Goldberg went on, I had already mentally thought that was the last match.
Right.
And I'm typing in, I'm like, oh, this is, they're actually going to end at 11 o'clock this year. And people start going, well, we haven't had the women's match or the Undertaker. I'm like, there's 2 more matches.
I know.
Oh my, and the Undertaker, I'm like, the Undertaker's going on last.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it then, huh?
Yeah,
he did his Ned Braden, his saucy little striptease at the end, and drops his coat and his we got gloves here too in the studio.
Yeah, the UFC gloves.
Drops the UFC gloves and his hat,
his jacket. Yeah, he kissed his wife.
That was the sign.
That's the moment.
He left the Undertaker in the ring, and that was Mark kissing his wife.
Right on his way out. It was crazy being in that. Because everybody...
I would imagine the emotions were.
Right. Everybody hates Roman Reigns. And by everybody, I mean...
Not on this side of the table.
Yeah. By everybody, I mean the over-opinionated wrestling community.
Sure.
that happens to dwell online. The visceral hatred that was there from Roman Reigns, from the diehard community there, is unwarranted, but it was such a weird emotional shift when it was Roman walking up that ramp having defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and the cavalcade of boos and it just the hatred towards that man, to then realizing that this was it for The Undertaker. And as somebody who, The Undertaker has never not been a part of my wrestling experience. I started watching wrestling during the Ministry of Darkness.
Okay.
So that's what
It's a weird introduction to The Undertaker.
The Undertaker is I'm going to conquer the world. And you know where like Hitler failed? He wasn't WWF champion. That's basically.
I thought you were going to go with the sacrifices and the weird acolyte sex dungeon, but that's a whole other show.
That is a whole other show. But so that's why The Undertaker. That was my introduction to The Undertaker. So he's been there the whole time, and so now it's over, and I got to say goodbye to Stone Cold Steve Austin. I got to say goodbye to The Rock because I don't count what he's doing now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was such a crazy moment to be a part of that crowd, to have everybody kind of feel the same emotion.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, you were there. You talked to some people that were right after the show.
Right.
And you talked to them about The Undertaker.
I did.
All right, let's see some of that.
All right, what match are you looking forward to tonight?
Roman Reigns, Undertaker.
Why is that?
Because Undertaker's done. It's his last match.
That's it. So, are you afraid of the riot that might happen if Roman Reigns wins?
No, we're filming a documentary out here too, so I just want to record everyone crying tonight.
We're not going to see The Undertaker in New Orleans. How do you feel about that?
I think it was his time, and I think Roman was the guy to do it. He was on fire tonight. The story he told, the psychology, talking back and forth to The Undertaker, I think it was great. Great show. I'm exhausted. Long show, but great show. The ending really got me.
What was the overall message of the evening?
Let's go Roman. Let's go Roman. Just sadness, I guess, right?
Shocking to say the least, right? Do you think that that's the perfect way to send off such a legend like The Undertaker?
Absolutely, yeah. There's no other way to do it.
So that was right after the show.
Yeah.
Right after The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Hung him up.
Right.
Wow.
It was surreal, but I think everybody's reaction, as you kind of heard, was they're excited to see what's next because the wheel keeps turning.
Oh, absolutely.
For WWE. And while we lose these household names, Monday Night Raw comes and
it's the next night.
It's the next night. And the Raw after Mania and now the SmackDown after Mania are must-see events, because I always like to say that WrestleMania is WWE's season finale.
Right.
And so that means that Monday and Tuesday for Raw and SmackDown, that's the season premiere.
It's the reset button.
And you gotta grab everybody. And they really did grab everybody.
That opening segment.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking Roman Reigns and people's hate for him. They made him look like a star.
This is something that everybody kind of talks about when they talk about Roman Reigns, is that he's not what we want. We don't want him. We don't want him. We don't want him. And people are not realizing that WWE has shifted him into being their top bad guy.
He really is.
And WrestleMania was the culmination of that. And he stood in that ring and he took those boos. And whether
like a champ.
And whether the fans realized it or not, that's the reaction that they wanted you to have for Roman Reigns.
They've decided this is how you're going to act. It was same thing as the Yes movement.
Right.
This is the Boo movement.
Yeah.
If you're going to do this, we're going to do this.
Right.
And it was perfect. This is my yard.
I'm going to make a hashtag hot prediction now.
Oh, go for it.
By the time that Survivor Series rolls around this year, everybody will be cheering for Roman Reigns. Obviously, we had Vince McMahon return to television.
As you do.
And he announced that there will be a shakeup, a Superstar Shakeup, which we have no idea what that is going to be. But he also...
I want to imagine they got like pictures of the wrestlers on dice, and it's kind of like Yahtzee.
Yeah.
So they're shaking it up, and boom.
Yeah.
And some of the dice are red, some are blue, and whoever face is on a red, there you go.
Right. So basically, there's two dice. One picture.
So we're going to do a 3-hour board game.
Yeah, one's pictures, one is just red and blue, like on different sides.
Okay.
So you throw the die, and whoever's face lands on whatever color, that's the show they go to.
There you go. We have now
figured it out.
booked it.
But he came out. He also instituted the new Raw general manager.
I couldn't be happier. Could
yeah.
not be happier.
Somebody else that has been gone from the product for a long time. Was in TNA for a long time.
Your American hero.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle.
The 3 I's.
Absolutely.
Integrity, intelligence, and intensity.
Absolutely. I love that you remember that.
I did.
Good job.
Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is now the Raw general
yeah.
manager. What do you think about
I love
that?
it. I've always been a fan. Kurt, saying you're a fan of Kurt as a wrestler, easy. The dude did win the gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
He doesn't talk about it.
Never. It's only me. But more than that, some of my biggest belly laughs from pro wrestling came at the hands of Kurt, Steve Austin, and Vince McMahon doing those backstage things, the little cowboy hat, all of them just vying for Vince's attention. I've watched those recently, and it is, again, still getting me in that belly laugh. He's a funny dude. So you threw out the hashtag Hut Take for Survivor Series. I'm throwing it out for WrestleMania 34.
Okay.
Red versus blue, Kurt versus Brian.
Ooh. That would be great. That was the funniest thing about this entire WrestleMania was when they were talking about.
I mean, we called Mojo.
Right,
Why not throw out the
throw it out?
Throw it out.
We were talking about Triple H and Seth Rollins on this last show.
Yes.
Where you have, you're going to sign this piece of paper and it's the hold harmless agreement.
Yeah.
And over there, Daniel Bryan's just like, I'll sign it.
Yeah, please. I'll sign 2 of them just to get it out of the way. But of course, it's the Raw after WrestleMania, so we have returns, we have debuts. You were at NXT TakeOver. Tell me about the Revival.
The Revival is a throwback team. I mean, they come as advertised. When they talk
like to
about
punch
that,
people.
They just like their shirt says, no flips, just fists. They're kind of just like an old school throwback team. The Spine Busters, right?
Brainbusters?
Brainbusters, that's what I meant.
The 4 Horsemen.
The 4 Horsemen.
Yeah.
Because they look and feel exactly like that. They are.
Well, they're very reminiscent of Arn.
They are so reminiscent of Arn Anderson. And that's just kind of who they are. They're rough and tumble. They are mat wrestlers, and they're a great, great tag team.
Do you feel that they're going to be a good fit? Do you feel they're going to work?
Yeah, I think they're on the wrong show, though.
Oh.
I think that.
So they might be part of the shakeup.
I think so.
Okay.
I think that they might get drafted immediately to SmackDown. SmackDown's tag division is weak, to say the least. They're also not trying, but it's weak.
I thought they were doing it was only like it was a 2-man race or 2-team race
Right.
with the Usos.
The Usos and American Alpha. But after that, I mean, you had the Vaudevillains who WWE just released Simon Gotch, so that team is done. Then you have the Ascension, who haven't been credible since their call-up.
No.
Then you, on top
Talk about not working.
Right, and then the Hype Bros.
Hey.
Mojo Rawley is now a single star.
The best thing that could have happened to Mojo was Zach getting hurt.
Right.
You don't want to wish for anybody getting hurt. But
No.
wow, did he luck out on that one.
Right, and then you have Breezango, and they don't feel like a real credible team.
No. They're again, insider term, they're the jobber team.
Right, they're a ton of fun, and they're both.
They're a hell of a talent, both of them.
Right, and the credit to WWE is they could turn that switch like that.
Absolutely.
Right? They just haven't chose to turn that switch. And so it's just a 2-team race. It's the Usos and American Alpha. Right. Yeah, and I don't count Rhino and Slater. I don't.
Why not?
Speaking
of great comedy, that was the best part of the brand split. Was following the trials and tribulations of Heath Slater.
I got kids.
And Rhino with his cheese and crackers.
Yeah, it was very weird. But so I think the Revival will fit in better and kind of give credibility to that division. So I hopefully would like to see them get moved over in this shakeup.
Okay, well, we shall see. Now, speaking of somebody that returned.
Yes.
Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Now, this was something that I anticipated his return.
Yeah.
Because we've seen him doing house shows.
Right.
But when he did return, it wasn't in the way I had expected. Again, as a wrestling fan, I want it the way I want it.
Right.
I wanted him to interrupt Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And be like, Beast versus Demon, that's what we're going to set up for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Maybe they still can.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
I don't think so. I would also keep Finn Balor as far away from Brock Lesnar as humanly possible.
Just because Brock eats people?
Yeah, Brock eats people, but
and
Brock is the Universal Champion.
Yeah.
Brock is the Universal Champion. He laid down the gauntlet to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's the obvious plan long term.
Right. And so that is going to be the plan next year at WrestleMania.
Sure.
They're the two guys to
We
beat.
got a year for that. Come
right.
on.
But you're
This isn't
telling
Rock Cena. We don't need a year-long build
Oh no, I know.
to tell this story.
But that's why I want to keep Finn Balor away from Brock Lesnar, because
You think he get lost in the shuffle?
anybody who challenges Brock Lesnar within this year is going to lose.
You think Brock's going to hold it for a year?
I think he's gonna. Why wouldn't he? Right? He goes on a year-long dominant run with the Universal title to then face Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns beats Brock Lesnar. That's just the way WWE books.
We've talked about SmackDown a bit. Let's get right into SmackDown. We had 2 debuts. Ty Dillinger
Yes.
and Shinsuke Nakamura. And I spelled his name correctly.
You did.
Unlike the Twitter handle on
Yes.
SmackDown.
Yes.
Some poor kid. I think he's a junior high teacher.
Okay.
Is the actual Shinsuke Nakamura that they put up on the SmackDown
Oh,
Twitter.
that is
Oh,
so
that
funny.
poor boy. But yes, 2 debuts. Shinsuke, I don't know what to expect now. I mean, I've watched him on NXT.
Yeah.
He has one of the greatest entrances. Speaking of red entrances that just don't work on blue, but
Right.
it's gorgeous.
Yes.
If I had to use the word gorgeous around pro wrestling, it is his entrance with the violin,
Right.
the whole deal. Now where do you go?
Yeah.
Now where do you go? I mean, even after the Miz.
I am so glad that Nakamura is on SmackDown. They are thin in the main event. It's really just a 2 or 3 team.
And he's an obvious main event player.
And he's an obvious main event player. If you look at his time in NXT, he's an absolute star.
Right.
He was in NXT mostly to get acclimated, as you could probably guess, he's Japanese. So to get acclimated to WWE and their travel schedule and getting his family acclimated to moving to the United States.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why he was in Florida for so long, was getting that life end of things.
Also putting on a hell of a match with Bobby Roode throughout the last few months.
Right. I mean,
You
he's an absolute talent. I mean,
Sure.
New Japan Pro Wrestling built the promotion around him.
Yeah.
So he's an absolute star.
Gotcha.
He's captivating. It shows that, while he can speak English, you don't need to speak English in pro wrestling to be a megastar. He has arrived. He immediately captivated that SmackDown
Absolutely.
audience. And I'm excited to see what he does. I think The Miz is going to be a great first opponent for him.
It's an interesting choice. It's again setting the Miz up to lose,
Right.
which we just did.
Yes.
And if anybody needs a win, it's the Miz and Maurice, because they told that story. They
Right.
sold me on them versus the Cenas.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
the Cenas, yeah.
They did. Their little fake Total Bella thing.
Yep.
It was hilarious. They told a great story for me. Now, and then of course it was a damn near a squash match.
Oh, it was.
It was all just set up to
propose.
To propose. Congratulations, kids.
Yeah, you did it.
But again, we're setting him up for putting him in the ring with Nakamura.
Right.
You got to admit that's setting him up to lose.
It is, but I don't think it's going to happen right away.
Okay.
I think you basically build up the Miz to win the Intercontinental title again.
I would like that.
And so Nakamura, who basically established the Intercontinental in New Japan.
Okay.
They have an Intercontinental Championship as well. So go watch New Japan. It's fun.
Hashtag gimmick infringement.
Yeah. So they both have it. So that was his belt.
Okay.
And having him show up
Mm-hmm.
and wrestle The Miz to win the Intercontinental title, I think a lot of fans.
So you think we get a little bit of time before
I
we
think
get
so.
there? Okay.
Yeah, I
So
think.
they're going to pad the Miz with a little bit of win.
Right. I
Okay.
think so too. I don't think we're going to get it right away.
Now, what's your first overall prediction of the Superstar Shakeup? That's going to be a tough one to say.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's start at the top and work our way down. How many guys do you think are really going to move around?
I think that when they did the initial brand split and the draft, they were incorrect in giving Raw more picks than SmackDown. Because while SmackDown has been able to take the most out of their roster and actually put on great wrestling shows throughout the year, and a show that a lot of fans like because it's condensed, there's more wrestling, and people like it a lot more.
I said it on the last show that I think they told a better story leading into WrestleMania.
Yes.
Even though I felt the Raw brand delivered more on WrestleMania.
Right.
With the exception of course, Mojo. Hashtag Mojo Mania.
Hashtag Mojo Mania.
But I felt they told better stories.
Yeah, and
Especially having me interested in stuff like Miz and the Bellas.
right, and the Raw.
Now they're the Bellas.
Yeah, now they're the Bellas. They're-
Sorry, John.
Sorry. Yeah, well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
She's hotter than you.
She's the boss now.
Yeah, she's hotter than you, John. That's what you signed away. But Raw has more stars.
Okay.
And they need to give some of them. Not
Thin the herd a little bit?
Yeah, just kind of even them out a little bit.
Okay.
Because if you give the stars on Raw more time to build, I think that the 3 hours will go by a lot smoother than SmackDown, who we've basically done all of the matchups.
Yeah.
We're out of new, fresh matchups because what's Randy Orton going to do? Is Randy Orton really going to wrestle John Cena again?
Yeah, we're going to get there in a second, what he's doing.
You know what I mean? But Randy Orton, he's got Bray Wyatt, he's the champion, but this is his 13th title reign. What new ground can we cover? Well, if we were to bring, let's just say Seth Rollins over to SmackDown, well, now all of a sudden, Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. I don't think we ever really got a conclusion to that.
Well, the new ground is clearly the House of Horrors.
Right, the House of Horrors.
Which can either be, in my head, that plays out as either the greatest thing they ever do or Punjabi prison.
Yeah. Yep.
It's one or the other. I mean, in my head, I'm like, put some budget behind this, get Rob Zombie to direct it, make it House of 1,000 Corpses in a wrestling form. I mean, basically, it's ripping off Final Deletion, but with a bigger budget and a weirder, creepier vibe to it. That would be great.
That.
But the bitch of it is, whoops. But the thing of it is, it's going to main event a pay-per-view, and I don't think they're going to do a pre-tape for a main event.
Yeah, I don't think
what I mean?
unless it's a co-branded show,
right?
Which I don't think it will.
It's not. It's going to be the next one.
It's payback. So I would think that
So it's going to be it's going to have to be in house.
It's going to have to be.
There's going to be a lot of green screen action happening. Yeah. I liked your Adobe tweet, by the way.
Yeah, that tweet was just for me. That was right for me. During the main event or the WWE Championship match with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt just projected things onto the canvas that was just like weird and creepy.
It was maggots. It was worms.
Yeah, right. I was just like, oh, yay! Bray Wyatt learned how to use Photoshop. He learned how to use.
He really did. But again, it was one of those, towards the end of the night, you could tell they were speeding stuff up.
Oh, absolutely.
The pacing of the last 4 matches were all over the place.
All over the place. Because they needed the 45 minutes to let The Undertaker walk down to the ring and walk back up.
As you do, though.
As you do.
There was a reason for it. There was the right reason to do it.
But the House of Horrors match.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really liked was the Kennel from Hell match. Right? Not that it itself was good, but
these are all great matches on paper.
On paper, right? And so it was a steel cage that was inside the Hell in a Cell.
Right.
So I would like
surrounded by dogs.
Yeah, it was surrounded by dogs was the Kennel from
Hell. We got vicious dogs. They're going to bite the boss man.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. So let's get rid of the dogs because that was dumb. Okay. But steel cage inside the Hell in a Cell.
Okay.
And put weapons on the outside.
Thunderdome. Or kind of war games with weapons.
Right. And so kind of like what Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose did with their Asylum match where they hung a bunch of things above
Everybody
the
remembers that,
cage.
right?
Yeah, the classic Asylum match.
WWE Network.
Yeah, watch it. It's great. There's a plant. His name's Mitch. It's crazy.
That's right. I forgot about Mitch the plant.
Yeah, Mitch the plant. And there was thumbtacks.
Terrible.
And Chris Jericho was sad about it, which I really hope that Chris Jericho gets over his affliction for T-shirts. That poor man, something is clearly wrong. He hasn't worn a T-shirt in 5 years. It's just scarves and vests. I want to start a fund for Chris Jericho and his T-shirts. Mm-hmm. But that's a whole other show.
We'll do a whole special show on Jericho and T-shirts.
Yeah, but the House of Horrors, I think, that's basically what it's going to end up being. I think it's going to be something kind of like that, which would be cool. We haven't seen that done since the Kennel from Hell match, and it's a way to repurpose a very cool match concept and get rid of the worst element of it, which were the dogs.
The dogs, and the mops.
Yeah.
Google it. So the Superstar, that's going to be a tough one to say. Superstar Shakeup.
Yes.
Okay, I tried to say it too fast. Who do you think the top two are going to be that go?
I think the top two that are going to go, I think Seth Rollins is going to go over to SmackDown, and I think Roman Reigns is going to go over to SmackDown.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we got the Shield all in one show.
I think so.
Are we finally going to get the Shield three-way?
Didn't we already get the Shield three-way?
Kind of, but not on a big stage.
Yeah, I think...
Not a big enough one.
I think we're going to gear up more towards the reunion.
Okay. Okay. So you're going that route.
So either Roman and Seth are going to go to SmackDown to even it out, or Dean is going to come over to balance it out, and Owens will then go to SmackDown.
Okay. I wouldn't mind that. Now, who's coming the other way?
So I think from the SmackDown to Raw end of things, I think that we're going to get American Alpha over onto Raw, and I think that we are going to send probably Dolph Ziggler over to...
Because why not?
Because why not? Yeah. To Raw. And that's kind of... So Dean, Dolph, and American Alpha
going that way.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, personally, I know it's very soon, and I know their focus is on Raw because it's the flagship.
Right.
I'd send the Hardys over because I want a Hardys Wyatt.
You're absolutely right, except for they're carrying red belts.
That would be even better.
Yeah.
Figure that out. I mean, this is
do they now get the blue ones?
How do we do this? I mean, why not have a champion go over? One show loses their championship, so they have to, I don't know, figure it out. I'm not writing the show, but figure it out.
So yeah, that's why I think the Intercontinental.
I've armchair booked enough today.
I think the Intercontinental in the U.S. are going to flip.
Okay, so they're just going to trade.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to see one of the bigger titles go over. And
then send the Universal title over.
Yeah. And that way Brian can just hold it and make fun of it on Talking Smack.
Yeah, look at the Fruit by the Foot Championship.
Right. So those are going to be the big ones. All right. Well, we got SmackDown coming to Boston.
Yes, we do.
This Tuesday, and we are going to be down there.
Tomorrow?
No, because this show's on Sunday.
Okay.
So Tuesday. At the Garden, TD Garden, SmackDown live, and we will be there.
Yes, we will.
Doing stuff.
Definitely doing
fun
stuff.
and shenanigans. So watch our Twitters.
Follow us.
So we can then follow you.
Yeah.
There you go.
That sounded a little creepier.
It's all about following. We're just going to follow each other around, just tweeting each other as we walk around. But thank you for tuning in to That Wrestling Show. I am Mike Wendt.
I am Liam Stryker.
And we'll see you next time.